And hello, yeah. I think we should be live now.
Hey everybody.
How you doing?
Should let me actually just see if we live. Still hosting Zero Star. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I see.
There we go. Perfect.
I see even myself.
Yeah, you can see. I can see you too on the stream.
Hmm.
I looked so nice in that shirt. Did I?
Let me actually.
Man, yeah. Oh. I love
Yeah,
my
thank
I love
you.
my angle. Everybody kept making fun of my camera angle.
Thank you. Gotta be Legend
Hey
for the
man,
follow. Much appreciated.
I needed
hey
that
there.
angle though. I gotta keep it high because I don't keep the room in best condition, so y'all can't see the floor.
I think the tiger does enough.
That's
But
what a
let us
focal
know.
Actually,
point should be.
The
Also,
tiger
gotta
does
watch it with the Cowboys pillow,
yeah.
where it doesn't just say cow.
We're gonna get. It's the year of the ox or whatever. It's okay. You can do it. People will let you if you've been
Pain
paying
milk
attention to
those.
Twitter. Yeah, if you've been paying attention to Twitter, it's okay now. It's cool now.
Okay, tight.
Yeah. Okay. So let me actually just see if everything also is working here. Yeah, okay. Everything's should be fine. So yeah, welcome everyone to the second edition of the Povertycast. My name is Kashkabal, and today I have Shiburizu and Diz to talk about Fight of Animals. Um, been meaning to do this for a while now, but then the holidays came and I didn't do the stream for a number of reasons. But yeah, so we finally are doing this thing. If you're tuning in for the first time, remember I already did another edition of this. We talked about Dankuga the last time. Check that out on my YouTube if you haven't, and if you are interested in it. But yeah, so guess right now gonna allow you to introduce yourselves. You can start Shibari's quick introduction.
Sure. Well, if you guys don't know me, I am Shiburizu. I most notably do a lot of wiki work in the FGC, but the game that I spend a lot of time playing is Fight of Animals. I've been organizing the competitive community since I want to say early last year, about early last year. Well, it's been quite a journey to get to this point, but we've been having a lot of fun. And Diz here is my partner in crime, my commentary partner in crime, so I'm gonna hand it off to him.
Yeah, how you doing? I'm a bit less known. I keep it way more low key in the FGC, but I have been around for quite a while. I just kind of hang around, stream on my own, help out with a lot of things with the guys that got to be legend after I got added to their team. That's how I ended up meeting Shiburizu, and ever since, normally when he's been rolling on some big project that involves a fighter, I'm usually one of the first ones run into assist. So that's how I ended up being his primary commentary partner, especially in Fight of Animals.
That's right. Sounds about right.
So yeah, how did you two exactly like get into Fight of Animals? I mean, just so thank you, Mr. Visit South Hindsight for the resub. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, this sub goes a bit too long. I actually should switch it when I'm doing a podcast, but yeah.
Your alert is fantastic.
It's very
yeah,
good.
great.
It's Messi Kimoshi. Anyway, I was saying, yeah. So for those who don't know, Shiburizu here actually is the community manager for Digital Crafter, who made this game.
How did I forget
S-
to mention that? Yes.
yeah, you yeah actually did.
You have a
Uh,
lot of titles.
yeah. So,
I do.
how did it happen? How did you get to that point? So to
Okay, yeah. So I'll tell the story because this is kind of like the longest story I have regarding the whole community. Is that early on when I started streaming, I got into the Digital Crafter Discord to play Fight of Animals, just to play it when it was new, and I noticed that people were really into this thing, and the product, the game itself was really, it had a good lifespan. People weren't really aware of what the game looked like yet, competitively, uh, but it had all the tools were there. It has great rollback netcode, it has lobbies, it's cheap, it's on Steam. You can't ask for better than that most of the time. And we decided to play it, and I came up with the idea to get a lobby going and to invite the developers because we wanted to do something to bring a little more attention to the vision of the devs. Because I think at that point, when I really thought about what Fight of Animals was, like a small fighting game made by some independent developers in Taiwan, and this was 2 years ago, right before GGPO was open sourced, before GGPO had Japanese documentation, before there was that big push in the FGC to try to get rollback netcode more accessible to Asian developers. I was really fascinated by that, so I brought him onto the show, and we had this great stream where I talked to developers, we played some matches on the stream. A lot of familiar faces were there. A lot of people who would stick with it a long time came through, and that segued into when Quarantine Rapport started. The developers asked me if I wanted to run a tournament. And I'll be honest with you, I had never run a tournament up until that point. I had no idea what I was doing, and I figured it out. And we ran the first one, and we've been at every Quarantine Report ever since. We were at Anime-Evo, as you guys can see on the footage. That footage is from Anime-Evo. And it was at the point that we were doing... when did that become a thing? At the point that Anime-Evo was like close to starting, that they had asked me if I wanted to work on moderating the Discord. That is specifically why in the Anime-Evo footage you can see a little promo for the Digital Crafter Discord, because I had recently been asked if I wanted to do community management in Discord, and one of the first things I did was improve the matchmaking that you have in the Discord. So we have the LFG rules. We shook up the channel structure a little bit. We introduced the bi-weeklies, which we had been doing basically every one or two events per month, but they hadn't been structured. And then I think we did 7 bi-weeklies in a row after that. So that was where we ended up, and that's where we're kind of still at.
And then we and we got here, and you suddenly, it's funny that you mentioned you had no idea what you're doing when you made your first tournament, and it actually ended up figuring it out. I mean, in my specific case, I've been doing tournaments for I don't know, 8 years at this point, and I still have no idea what I'm doing. So it doesn't really matter. The only thing, for anyone that aspires to, actually doing TO, is just don't stress too much about it and just do it.
Oh yeah.
And
I say I had no idea in that I had never run a tournament to that point. I had a very vague notion of what a double elimination bracket was. I had no idea what Match Reno was. I had a vague idea of what challenge was at that point. I just all this stuff was new to me, so I spent a lot of time obsessing over the details. It worked out, thankfully. It worked out really well. But yeah, I would say Fight of Animals has been extremely formative to me.
So yeah, how did you get into Fight of Animals?
Mostly through conversations with Shib, as he was trying it out early on. As he had mentioned, of course, he started bringing it around to basically everybody that would take a listen. He would just show it off to everybody, and I was one of the ones that really got into it, at least for a little bit. I'm actually not as much of a player on it right now. I'm mostly sideline stuff now, But at the beginning, I was hopping in with lobbies with them. Anytime a little event would pop up, I would hop in with them. When tournaments popped up, when QR popped up and things like that, I got approached to help out with them on commentary, and I went, yeah, sure, why not? As I usually end up doing. And ever since then, anytime a lobby starts, anytime a tournament starts, if Shib is involved, I usually end up being on the casting with him.
Good. So, in that case, like, what made you you to actually stick with the game? Like, what do you do? What do you two actually really like about this game in terms of how it plays?
Okay, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna answer this with something a little bold, and then I'm gonna explain. I think that this game has a very similar appeal to Street Fighter 2. On the face of it, it's extremely easy to get in
My
there and press
goodness.
the buttons. Yeah, it's the boldest thing I can say about it.
Mhm.
And
Uh-huh.
you're gonna say, oh, how can you compare it to the greatest fighting game of all time for most people? Well, I like this. It's very easy to start, like to start playing. There are games that are like you can't play them without a couple hours of knowledge. This game you can just start playing. You can press some buttons.
Mhm.
Everything feels relatively satisfying at first glance, and when you really get into it, right, and you see two people who know what they're doing play the game, it it transforms into just a different monster of a game, right? When you watch, like, you go back and watch the Animivo tapes, and you watch even people now who've been playing the game for like 2 years at this point, and you see them fight each other, it looks completely different, right? And that's valid. There is a game to be played at the highest level, and there's a game to be played at the most beginner level, and that is like what fascinates me about it, right? Because I like, if I stop playing a game for a little while, I'm gonna have to, you know, knowledge check myself and like build myself back up a lot. And with this game, you don't have to. It's not as much. Like, depending on who you're playing it, you're gonna have to, remember things versus people who are, more brushed up on it. That happens with everything. But the knowledge, like the barrier to begin playing the game is so low. It's such an accessible game. You can play it with, almost anyone you want. And the community around it has been extremely friendly. It's one of those communities, like, you can't gatekeep this thing. This is about animals fighting, right? Like, everyone can get behind it, right? It's family friendly. It's accessible to everyone. Everyone kind of has their own take on it. So why wouldn't I, right? I can always come back. I can always enjoy it because the community is welcoming and the game is accessible.
Right. But yeah, so you started with the tournament we're seeing now is the Animivo tournament, and this, I mean, you mentioned that at the time, like, you're looking at this, this footage, and you're looking at the like recent footage, and it seems like a completely different game. I mean, I think that's a very I mean, I think that's going to be a theme with these podcasts, because Dunkirk is the same thing, because it's like a different situation, a very different situation, given that it was an unreleased game that eventually leaked on the internet, and now it has like rollback net play, so people can actually like start digging through the game and like actually figure stuff out. This is what, like, I mean, at the time, a lot of people didn't give like, and I think that's a bit channel. Like, people who aren't too into fighting games don't really like see this game and just see, oh, there's like some weird animals just punching each other, and they like. Did you see Joel streaming this game? Like, Fine Sauce Joel. Like,
I
you should stream.
unfortunately did not get to, but I mean, if somebody knows how that went, I'd be more than happy to
Like,
comment on it.
it did have fun. I did have fun with it, but it was well, like, his first reaction was like, "Is this a joke fighting game?"
Right.
But you can say that it is a joke fighting game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like-
it's definitely kind of a meme. Like,
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, but even like meme fighting games suddenly turn out to be really deep fighting games with a lot of meat to dig through and like a lot of stuff to figure out. I actually didn't play this game too much. I played more Fight of Gods because for those who don't know,
Oh
it's
yeah.
another game that Digital Factor made before this game. Um, but even that, like with all these chunkiness, had like some fun stuff to explore, and so does this game. From what you're both saying. Um, but yeah, tell me about characters. Tell me about characters again. I actually have done this earlier. But let me actually just pull up the character list for this game. I should have done this earlier, but I totally forgot. Um,
Our
yeah.
star cast.
Oh, it's not like we have you have a wiki or anything. Anyway, it's not like we both
Yeah,
run a
sure.
wiki about this
It's not like
game.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like y'all are well versed in having large amounts of information on a public space or anything like that.
Yeah.
I would never.
Hey,
Who would
so
ever
okay, so first of all, actually, first before talking about the characters themselves, like give me like a quick system like overview, like how does this game exactly work? Like very quickly, don't go too in depth.
It's very simple. You have light button, heavy button, and special button. And you have a super or burst button. So like a super / burst macro button. So you have 4 buttons, and the key mechanic of the game is that you go light into heavy into special, and you can do dash canceling. So you double tap in any direction to extend your combo. So on the face of it, it's a very basic fighter. You know, you press heavy button to do more damage. It's more negative. You do light buttons to do quick jabs. You use specials to do big, powerful special moves. But when you factor in the dash cancels, that's where the game starts to open up in complexity because you have to with the dash cancels. If you're familiar with Art of Fighting 3 specifically, then it might be familiar to you the way the juggle system works. So you have to use dashes to keep your juggles going in combination with your specials. I mentioned that there's super. There is a super. It's just like Super Turbo, like Street Fighter 2 type thing. You press the button, it happens. Or you can spend the bar on a burst. That burst can be baited. It's a single invulnerable hit. If you can block it, you can block it and punish it. You can get hit by it. If you get hit by it, it goes back. And that's kind of it. Like, that's the whole system. There's jumping attacks. There's standing and crouching, but there's no throws. Most people know that part. There's no throwing in the game. There's no back or forward throws or anything like that. So it's all about opening people up who are blocking or catching them, with whiff punishes, and that's the whole game. That's it. You go. All the characters have different specials and different normals, and everything is extremely down to like their hitboxes and your ability to punish. Right? Like, that is it's very slim package in that regard.
Yeah, I would actually like to mention that it's also a very committal title.
Oh yes.
Like walk speed in that game is not all that hot, and there's very few like examples of zoning either. So usually people really have to just start going in at each other, and usually that's going to require dashing and throwing some big crazy button out. And pretty much the entire cast is pretty well versed at either doing it themselves or will punishing super hard. So you see just lots of dangerous situations happening. And on top of that, everybody, because there's no throws, everybody has an overhead, so everybody can open everybody up off of everything. And they all pull combo. You can cancel them into special, into dash, and just go to town. So it's a very, because of that, and the errant damage in the game is kind of a volatile title once you start getting into the higher levels.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So I guess we can go through the characters. So yeah, I guess we can start with the lovely name Power Hook Dog, which is a dog that punches you really hard. Alright.
What is there to say? What do you want to know? Like, just the basic summary?
Like the basic summary, yeah, just a basic summary of the character. Like, what does the character do in general?
Okay. So Power Hook Dog He is, like Diz mentioned. This game is very committal. Powerhook Dog is one of the most committal characters. All of his specials involve using his big arms, swing forward, and to hit the opponent. So he has like a forward punch that rushes him forward. Think like Boxer, Street Fighter 2. He has like these two punches that move him forward a less amount, but it also inflicts a large amount of hit stun or block stun. He has an uppercut. Uppercuts in this game are a little weird because they're not quite invincible. I don't know the exact frame data, but if you wake up uppercut, you will get hit out of it, unless like they are specifically doing it late. They're doing the punish late. He's very good about anti-airing in that regard because the uppercut and his crouching heavy is upward punch, so that helps. And he's a good place to start the game. He feels like a Shoto, except like there's only one character in this game with a fireball, so he's not he's the Shoto of this game, but he's not. Yeah, he's not quite the Shoto you would expect because he doesn't have a lot of zoning tools. He's mostly about good spacing. I'd say if you like characters who have good buttons and can punish like whiffed heavy attacks very easily, then you can play him.
Hi. So I guess we can just move on if there's not anything else to add. We can move on to Mighty Fox. So what does Mighty Fox do?
What doesn't Mighty Fox do, right, dude?
Oh man, Mighty Fox is Mighty Fox is quite a good character. Very quite an understandable character. Like the whole game is simple, so pretty much everybody's pretty easy to pick up. Very good array of tools. The simplicity of the game kind of bites it sometimes because there's just minute differences about the characters that you really have to talk about. But those differences usually end up being very glowing things. And one of Mighty Fox's big differences is Mighty Fox has got the I don't know how to describe it, the like the Seth kick where it hits where it clips you multiple times in one swipe. Very good like pressure tool, good chip, decent range, kind of tough to punish when it's spaced. Has a fantastic flash kick.
Yes,
that makes it
it's just a flash kick. It's just like there's
think
about a flash kick. It's a flash kick. That's it.
Oh yeah. It's extremely good. Makes it very hard to jump on him. Has a ton of damage. A lot of it coming off of these charging double kicks that can go into all sorts of things. Also makes him very good at whip punishing. So very basic. Kind of. I feel like they're kind of aggressive. Not as aggressive as Powerhook Dog. You can definitely hold back a little bit and just rely on the like the multi kicks and the flash kick to get everything done for you. But he's kind of a dangerous presence, slowly coming forward with his arms folded and just slowly handing out the work.
I would just say that this character is also like, you would think that a defensive character like that doesn't have like a lot of combo game, but that's the opposite. This character has one of the best combo setups in the game. They're all about that. You want to lab out combos, you have them like 70%, I think, if you know the combo. Like, and that's gonna be a trend. The characters that are played the most competitively, they blow you up like 70 to 80% damage.
Oh my goodness!
If they know what they're doing, if the player knows what they're doing, yeah, he's crazy.
This is definitely an embrace death type of game.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Like you mentioned the way you talk about this flash kick, and I can already like picture it. Like I haven't actually seen the flash kick, but like you both mentioned it's just like the archetype of flash kick.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
so
this game has no charge, so just do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot that it has no charge. You just do it.
Well, is it still a down up input or just like a motion input?
No. This game has smash motions. So it's just direction and special.
Oh, okay.
The flash kick is down in that 2S.
Okay.
Yeah, 2S.
Oh, incredible! Like a good ass flash kick with just like a smash input. That sounds like a dream in some
Yeah,
games.
very. It sounds very dangerous, doesn't it?
It definitely sounds like incredibly dangerous when you get like such a good tool and like incredibly mean. But anyway, let's move on next to Walking Cat. What can you to
Walking
tell me
Cat.
about Walking Cat?
What is there to say about Walking Cat? He okay. Um, he's a little more like, I guess if you want to compare it to like traditional fighting game architects, he's more like a pixie fighter. Like he moves around the screen very easily, and yeah, he's very small, so his hitbox will, he'll get stuff whiffed on him easier. Um, his main thing is that he has like a 2-hit. I guess, is it a Rekka? Is that a Rekka input? I think it is.
Oh yeah, it's a record. Well,
Yeah, he's got a
obviously not the. You're not doing a quarter circle in here, but yeah, you.
yeah no. You got like a
SS, I believe, is the
SSS.
motion.
That's right. That's right. It's a 2-hit Rekka that moves you forward pretty fair bit. The hitbox is really good on the second one. It's very punishable. But if if you catch somebody like doing a special from like far away, then you can just counter hit them with it. He's got a parry. Not a parry, a counter. A counter is the right word to use because it doesn't attack. I have seen
no,
this
it does
character.
attack.
Yeah, it does attack, so it's a counter, and it. I unfortunately do not have the clip on hand, but you can parry a burst with the counter, and what I mean by that is that the burst in the game is a single hit. It counts as like a hit, like a strike. So if you do a counter, it doesn't strike the opponent. It just cancels out the hit of the burst, and it counts as like a parry. I've seen people. I've seen it. That you can bait the burst with a counter. If it works, then you get a punish, and you punish the burst. That you have to see it to believe it. My jaw dropped when I saw that. But the character in general is more like a rush down, like catch you pressing buttons type character. He's not as spacing heavy because one of his specials is a counter. So you have to be in their face and anticipate them to press buttons out of your pressure. So I would say if you're really into pressure, like getting him in the corner and just trying to get like reaping the reward out of seeing them try to fight their way out of it, then this is a character for you.
Quite a bully.
Like the thing you mentioned about countering the burst just reminds me of like similar things like in Guilty Gear, like when you just throw someone's burst and it's pretty much like that kind of like stealing your soul kind of thing.
It's like that. It is that. It is exactly like that.
You try just to get out of like a shitty situation with like a burst and just go like, nope, denied.
And it comes up the situation comes up quite often in the game due to the meter bill being pretty good and the only other usage of meter being the super at the same price.
Yeah, and as we're gonna get to a character who you don't use the super on. You save the meter for burst. We'll get into that.
Yeah, but actually speaking of the burst, is it like fully invincible?
Okay. I'm not sure what you mean by fully invincible, but the way it works is that if you there's a big hitbox that gets put on the screen, and it has pushback, right?
Yeah.
And then you stay in the air doing the animation, but you are completely vulnerable. You can get hit out of it. You like after the hit comes out, you are in the air for a couple of frames, and you can be hit out of it. So that's where people bait the burst. That's where like the parry comes up, because it's just one hit, and if it hits, it knocks the opponent back full screen. If it's blocked, it does a little bit of pushback, but if they're in your face, you're gonna get hit.
Okay, I understand.
It's got enough invulnerability to get that initial burst out, but after that, you're on your own, Jack.
The startup is invulnerable. After the hit comes out, then you're punished.
Hey, so I guess we can talk about Magic Squirrel. What can you
talk to me about Magic Squirrel?
Yeah,
let's talk about Magic Squirrel. Magic Squirrel has the unique distinction of having the only full screen projectile in the entire game.
Yes.
That is not like a super or something. And because of that, Magic Squirrel is the premier zoner. Very quite a short character, very stubby buttons. But has a pretty good button in I believe that's 5B to be able to whiff punish things. Has a decent amount of damage if they do land hits. A lot of decent tools in general. Though the 2S is a like small arc above them that's a halfway decent anti-air. The 4S does deploys like a small glyph like directly in front. That makes it sound like it's a trap being set. I don't want to say it like that. But like, it's basically like a 2-hit attack that can then be canceled into either of the other special moves. So a lot of combos end up going into that water shield, and then into the water, and then into the 2S to pop them up, and then you can just keep going off of that.
Right. It specifically has a launcher property. So
yeah,
it does do a very high amount of push up in the air. So that is why that works.
Mm-hmm. They also have like a pretty evasive, at least as far as the cast is concerned, overhead. They just jump all the way up in the air and come down with something. That's actually pretty solid. That's actually pretty solid on offense. Probably has one of the best utility-based supers in a full screen beam. So yes. you might end up seeing that just trying to punish air hits. I love using it as an anti-air. Like there's been a couple of like very cool uses out of a lot of the tools that Magic Squirrel has. But hey, at the end of the day, Magic Squirrel is a pretty traditional style of zoner, but has a lot of options in their moves, even if a lot of them are really short. So you really have to put yourself at risk to use them.
Yeah. I want to add, he brought up the overhead. So when I explained the system, the special button, everybody's neutral special, so no direction special, has an overhead attack, right? Like think MP plus MK in Street Fighter, stuff like that, right? And some characters have the privilege of their hitbox, their own hurt box being moved very significantly. So Magic Squirrel is one of those people where if he gets his overhead attack out and you try to attack them low with a low attack, it will go under them and you will get hit. And that interaction has saved people out of things that they absolutely should have gotten punished for a bunch of times. Like you see people like
sounds low-key petty.
I've seen people like just completely get saved because the overhead there's like 3 characters that have this. Like, by the way, 3 or 4, where you'll try to hit them low to try to open them up. They do their overhead, and their hurt box is just in the sky. And you're the one who's going to get hit with this. So
really gotta watch out with the panic, with the panic overhead. It's kind of like Tekken characters being able to just randomly low crush things.
Yes, like that.
It's always good, like to have that happen exactly. But like an overhead that puts your hurt box way above, and that sounds slightly annoying to deal with. As someone who's not actually play this game way.
Don't worry, Magic Squirrel. If he's in your face, he's gonna lose. So you don't run into that situation too often.
I mean, as long as you successfully block the first time. Get past that initial mix-up and you're probably okay.
Hey, so I guess you can move on straight to Crowrilla.
Oh yeah, tell us about Crowrilla.
Crowrilla's fun. If you never he's kind of does a little bit of everything. He's got a 2-hit Rekka again that you can cancel into his back special. So forward special is a 2-hit Rekka that you can cancel into his back special, so you get 3 hits. That's usually what people do to end combos, but if you do that on block, you die because it's like hugely negative to do that. He's got one of the better crouching heavies in the game. So the trend is that crouching heavies are like anti-airs, and his anti-air, he swings his hands up in the air really high, and he does like a big clap. So, and if you get that, it counter hits for like a big launch, so you can do like a big combo off of it. So he's got really good combo game. He's one of the few characters who has his special in the air. Most characters don't have. Only Corilla has any inputs for jumping plus special. Jumping plus special for Corilla has like a Honda dive bomb kind of thing, where he just like he moves forward in the air a little bit. He stays lingering in the air, and then he like slams down, and he has like a big hitbox underneath him. He's the only character who has anything like that.
Yeah, something similar is something similar might be like when Jack flies in Tekken, or like Midori in Fantasy Strike has a button like that.
Yeah, Midori is the closest like literal, I think, example of that. The other he has a projectile. It's very short range. It's like a little arc that he throws, and it's good for like keeping people out or just keeping people cornered. I think overall he does like a lot of everything, but he's not that particularly great at one particular thing. Like his anti-airs could be better. His projectile certainly could be better. His frame data for being blocked is really bad. His combos are good. They're not the best. His super's pretty iconic. The best part about him is probably the super. You've probably seen the Crowrilla super where he poses on the camera a bunch of times and you die while that happens. That's one of the most I think popular bits of the game that people have seen. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summary of him. If you want to just have tons of options available to you, you play a Crowrilla.
So, jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, he's the jack of all trades character, I would say.
Alright, so I guess we can just move on to Muscle Beluga, which is probably the character I associate more with this game for whatever reason.
Yeah, Muscle Beluga has really climbed up the standings as far as popularity is concerned. Really trying to take on the poster child status of this game.
Right.
So you see Muscle Beluga everywhere. Muscle Beluga getting on all the magazines. get your Muscle Beluga ice cream.
Right.
Muscle Beluga is a leans pretty offensive. Has a very dangerous spacing tool in their overhead, which is weird to say. But we were talking about evasive overheads. Muscle Beluga has one of them, and on top of that, it reaches really far because he lays out flat for an elbow drop. So there's a lot of times where other characters' overheads won't quite clip people. Muscle Beluga will get you, and because of his dive on 6S, he's pretty much never out of range to convert off of anything. And on top of that, his damage is quite high. So it's a pretty dangerous combination to have.
Yeah. Remember when I said a minute ago that some characters do not spend their meter to burst? This is that character. This character does not. You don't ever want to spend on the super because the super has a huge wind up and it like moves them back and it's like a big full body attack. And
it's actually like Alpha 3 Bison Cycle Crusher. It's actually bad.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good, but he's so good it's not as relevant as you would think.
Yeah, the big thing is that like because this game has no damage scaling, thing I forgot to mention. It has no damage scaling. You generally want to if a character can combo into super, then that character is really good because the supers just do unscaled damage, right? So Muscle Beluga can't combo into super, I don't think, outside of maybe like a niche scenario. But at the end of his BNB, absolutely cannot, right? So with that in mind, you don't ever spend your meter to do the super. You just hold it to do a burst whenever you get punished. And that works because Muscle Beluga can do left-right 50-50s. They can end their combos on whichever side that they want. And with that in mind, you have a character who does good damage. They can do anywhere from 50 to 60% on their B&B. So we're talking about a 2-touch character. And, the way that the character plays kind of always forces you to spend your meter defensively. So you don't have any reason to, spend it on a super unsafe super. Instead, you just burst out anytime you get punished. You got hit with a combo, don't worry about it. You have your meter. The game does not encourage you to use the super because the character with just their base moveset is that good. So very interesting character to play for sure. This character in tournament results has become probably the most popular.
Yeah, I guess like when your base tools are so good, you probably don't even need the super. If you're really just that good in general, and you can always have the reassurance that you have a get out of jail free card in terms of the burst.
Oh yeah, and characters like that, you could argue that they're like tankier than other characters. You get to burst out and just keep getting ahead in the DPS race.
Yeah, it's like characters with that kind of a tool that pretty much allows them to it's pretty basically a get out of jail free card tends to be really good in general, like in any fighting game. I mean, there's a great example, say in Ultra Street Fighter 4, you have Elena, which is pretty much pretty much had more health than she actually had because healing.
Right.
I guess the best thing you could compare it to is Ultra Ultra.
I see it as fighting games are usually a very calculated risk-based genre. So when you have characters that play the same game but don't have to take nearly the same risk and don't really lose anything off of not having to take that risk, it's usually a pretty tough customer.
Nice. Anyway, I guess we can move on to Slendercat. Tell me about Slendercat.
Slendercat, he's probably the worst character in the game. I'm just gonna come out and say it.
I feel like I want to argue that, but at the same time, I don't think I can.
I think he's probably not that great. I will say
let's not discourage people from the cat.
Yeah, let's not discourage people. I've seen some people go out there and play him for the sake of playing him, and I've seen some cool stuff. But be aware that this guy, his whole thing, he's kind of he's supposed to be something close to a Dhalsim function. He's got he extends his and that seems like the obvious thing to do, right? He stretches his body out, right? But the thing is that the way most of his moves work is that he actually moves forward. Okay, so think about Dhalsim for a minute. When Dhalsim gets hit out of one of his limbs, his whole body did not move forward, right? He's still back there. So your challenge is to get next to his body while hitting out his limbs or punishing his limbs. This character doesn't have that privilege. Most of his specials move him forward, and that makes a situation where if you block him, even though he has very far reach, he's now in your face. And he's negative, so just punish him, right? It's very easy. One of his very unique tools is that he has eye lasers,
it's Killer Instinct 2, Fulgore.
Yeah, literally Fulgore eye lasers. He shoots down at the ground and does eye lasers. It's okay as a spacing tool. It's not that great. It doesn't go that far in front of him.
Unfortunately, unlike Fulgore, it's not plus.
Yeah, it's also not plus, so it's not great. He's a little better in Fight of Animals Arena, which we haven't talked about. He's a little better in that game because just the way that game works. But this character is designed to be like a counter hit zoner, like a poking zoner. I don't know that it gets there. But if you want to play a character with eye lasers, you can play a character with eye lasers.
I will say because of the stretchiness, Slendercat is quite a good whip punisher. Just through I forget which button. I want to say 5 heavy, where he just kind of stretches on the ground.
Yeah,
that that move, if you're able to successfully convert into anything, that is a pretty good move to base dang near your whole gameplay on.
So like he's kind of a Dawson zoner, but Dawson style zoner, but not very good. As from what you mentioned.
He doesn't have nearly as much. He's you know how I said this game is very committal. Well, Dalsim's not supposed to be that committal, and
Yeah.
the design of the game kind of gets in the way of him doing his job. But he's there. He's cool.
So
everybody loves him,
so he's in the wrong game, basically.
yeah, he's a hard fit for the game as is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like DBFZ zoners.
Right.
Yeah, like there's you can always like see there's pretty much I think every fighting game has like one character that probably shouldn't be in that game, like in terms of design. Like the game itself actually plays against the character. I feel like a lot of fighting games, if not like all of them, have like one character that to at least one point has that issue.
Fighting games are hard to design. Who'd have thought?
Yeah. Fighting games are definitely hard to design. Anyway, let's get to the most overformed character in the game, Eggdog. Tell me about Eggdog.
Oh yeah, like Eggdog is something of a I forget what I was gonna say. Like a almost like a menacing presence. I forget what I don't remember to say. Like he's a menace. Like a countering sort of presence, because Eggdog is you usually see 100% in their set play from, or 100% defensive play, which is frankly impossible for the rest of the cast to actually kind of do. Eggdog just gets the unique benefit, and that's because Eggdog's a trap zoner. Eggdog gets to lay an egg in front of him, and it explodes. It is not Eggdog's problem. So if Eggdog gets hit, it does not disappear. So you have to respect that thing at all times. And that one tool ends up being a transformative experience on the game. No matchup is quite like the Eggdog matchup because of that one tool.
Just the egg.
Just the egg. And of course, because it's Fight of Animals, Eggdog can convert off of it. So, and Eggdog's damage is glorious.
Eggdog, he has TODs, I think, against everyone, right?
I think so.
I think there's only like maybe one character that can't get TOD'd by Eggdog.
Eggdog has extremely stubby normals and is an extremely small character. Everything's kind of made up by a couple of really specific tools that are extremely powerful. They have the jumping heavy hits multiple times and can like bounce off of the opponent, and sometimes comes down on the opposite side and gets a full combo either way. It's one of the aforementioned evasive overheads, which definitely comes in handy when you can defend it by setting an egg up first. The spike is quite a good overhead. Not overhead. Anti-air.
Yes,
That gets to be converted off of everything. Like the only weakness is like flat out sort of flitzy based range. So Eggdog would have to commit by rolling in. But other than, if you're not in that specific range, you're either like point blank or farther out than that, unless you have a projectile, Eggdog is pretty dangerous, to say the least. It's just hard to assault them because of the egg. It's hard to defend because of the egg, plus the evasive overhead, plus the goofy jump heavy. There's a lot of stuff going in, and if you do get hit by any of that, and Eggdog's in range to convert, you're gonna take a boatload of damage.
So you're basically playing Fight of Dog at this point. You're not playing Fight of Animals, you're playing Fight of Dog. You have to respect that he pretty much
Yeah.
changes the game to
If there's any, I feel like if there's any matchup you would have to work on if you play Fight of Animals, it would be the Egg Dog one. You have to have a plan for that guy.
Yeah, you have to be like Egg Dog to be
Because
effective.
it's just so
like,
unique.
Not that hard. It is like Egg Dog's combo setups are like the most lab worthy stuff in the game. I have seen some really crazy setups. I've seen that people have practiced, but like just to frustrate people, just throw the egg out. That's it.
Oh yeah. This is the character for straight geniuses. If you honestly don't want to lab of all, if you're like me and you're like I'm not the biggest combo person. I don't really care anymore, and my execution's like medium to medium low. Even with like KOF 13 experience and Marvel stuff, like you can just rely on Egg Dog to frustrate them and just get little short converts. And if you have the fundamentals to make little setups happen along the way, you're pretty much gravy.
Hey, so I guess we can move on to Tricky Fox. Tell me about Tricky Fox.
Tricky Fox is cool. He's very conceptually cool, but he doesn't quite get there in terms of damage. I've seen people who are very good at the game pick him up, like just to try him, and they do a lot of work. But he doesn't have all the tricks that the rest of the cast does to be as good. So I guess just to break that down,
Ironically,
yeah, he just to talk about it, he
not as tricky as anything.
Yeah, he's not as tricky as you think. He has like a power hook dog type approach with his light and heavy buttons, where he has like big forward buttons. He has like a good anti-air. Like he has good spacing on his buttons. And then when we get into his specials, that's where things get a little weirder. He has an uppercut. He has a overhead that moves him into the air, so much like Squirrel. So he has that. That's good. He has this weird. He reminds me of like Iori in so many ways. He has like this weird thing where he reaches out and he pulls you in, right? And in combos, you can use that to switch sides. If you block it though, it still does the vortex, and you're not exactly plus. I can't say off the top if you have any advantage off the top of my head, but usually that's very unsafe.
It's typically you should typically assume no, you do not have.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to punish people if you pull them in. It's not like one of those characters who puts themselves at like -0 and then you have like fat buttons or something like that. This is not that. This is a character who wants to like space you out, but doesn't really have the tools to keep the spacing game going, because they're revolved around Vortex, and they don't really do anything with the Vortex. So he's a weird character. He has some cool combo routes. Like I mentioned, the fact that his back special does like a Vortex in combos, this will send the opponent over you, like over top of you in the other direction. So if you're in the corner and you get a hit and you confirm into the combo, you can put them in the corner behind you, right? And then you can use that as a knockdown and do whatever you want. I don't know how to describe the archetype that he fits in necessarily, but if you like semi big body types, then you might want to give him a try and see what you can do. Admittedly, this is one of those characters that not a lot of players have been like totally enamored with. So there's a lot that I could be missing, right? There's a lot of stuff that I could potentially be missing.
Would you say he's the Tricky Fox is the most underplayed character in the game, or?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Would you say Tricky Fox is the most underplayed character in the game?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes,
I would say he's the most underplayed character.
Okay, makes sense. I guess, yeah, we have one character left, who is Bad Dog.
Oh,
tell me about Bad Dog.
Dog.
The baddest of dogs.
Bad Dog is a very almost like uncaring style of rushdown character. very very dangerous. He gonna do what he wants, and you kind of have to deal with it. It's because a lot of it is also quite safe to do, which is kind of rare in this game.
Yes.
One of the most impressive tools to me is actually his jabs. They're very long. They're very long range. They're like it's kind of hard to challenge them because of the range of his specials. He can convert typically, and you kind of can just get harassed by those the whole time. Um, while which is a problem because he also has a pretty long range overhead that is very tough to deal with, that can also be converted off of in standard fight of animals fashion.
Yep.
The Rekkas themselves, there are actually three, I believe. I believe it's a full Rekka set.
Yes, it is.
You can stop them you can stop whenever you want.
Yeah, so forward special, he pulls out like a giant bone.
Mm-hmm.
He does 1, 2, 3 hits, and the amount of like how negative you are depends on which hit you end on. So if you do like 2 hits, you're in their face, and you're probably not going to be punishable. So that's scary. Not a lot of characters can do that. Not a lot of characters can get in your face and be like in a very like not entirely disadvantageous state, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that Rekka also has really good juggle. So his
Yeah,
combo,
so
his combo
the combo game is fantastic between the juggling ability of the Rekkas, the ability to do the 4S as well on top of that, which hurts, the ability to I believe that's 4S, it might be the 2S, the ability to dash cancel, all of that because it's fight of animals. The crouch heavy is pretty good in general, either for anti-air or for juggling purposes. So you have that as well. Everything kind of flows into each other. So it leads to some of the most dangerous situations when you do get hit, because everything just works, and at almost any point in the screen you can get put into what's been affectionately referred to as the thing. which is for all intents and purposes a TOD from dang near any situation. So
Sounds fun.
it's a terrifying character that is mostly safe and can convert off of either the high or low from pretty good range. Can drag you to the corner, and can, if the meter situation is right, just kill you.
Yeah.
Sounds very fun
But
to get
you
hit
do
by.
have burst though. But you do have burst. And if you know your opponent is very capable of deploying said thing, that is the option that you need to hold on to your meter for. Having a TOD in a game with burst dramatically changes the matchup, because now all burst has to be focused on that. All meter has to be focused on that.
Yeah, definitely sounds like a character. It actually just showed up on the VOD right now. So I guess
yes.
great timing.
Honestly, this could be one of the matches where said thing
like-
is deployed. You'll know it if you see it.
I guess I'm gonna keep watching, see if the thing actually happens. If I start starting to see like a touch of death just out of nowhere.
Oh yeah. Probably the most common deployer of a touch of death in the game.
Anyway, now that you've done characters, you mentioned just a while ago about Fight of Animals, the spin-off, which I forgot entirely the name of. The Arena Fighter.
Fight of Animals Arena. Very simple.
Arena, yeah. This is just a quick overview. I'm not gonna talk too much in depth because we're talking about the original Fight of Animals here. But yeah, just came out like a few weeks ago, right?
Yes, came out last month, Christmas.
Yeah, and yeah, well, it's Arena Fighter. Like, it still has rollback too, right? Correct. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, it has rollback netcode. It is for rollback for up to 4 players. So all the naysayers can kindly, go buy the game and give it a try.
Yeah.
It does work quite well. I played it for a couple of hours with people all around the world, and you'd be surprised. Definitely big win for that kind of like tech. Because I can't think of any other game. Lethal League would have that. I think.
Yeah.
Hey
There's not a
Sakurai,
lot of games like that.
hey Sakurai, are you listening to this? I hope you are.
I'd
I
have to
hope
double
you're
check if
listening.
Slap City does it.
Yeah, right.
I hope Sakurai is listening to this podcast to know that you can actually do like 4-player rollback.
I didn't get to talk about it, but like that's one of the big things I like about this game is that it's one of the many examples that big time developers have no excuse.
Pretty much.
And I think the game, just to kind of talk about it, it's a little bit. I would say the most relevant example to another platform fighter is like Smash 64. It's a very loose framework. People die fast. It's the stages are small. It's very action packed. There's a lot of really enjoyable moments. Like the game does not have characters that, Smash Bros has characters that are frustrating to deal with. I don't think there's characters like that in Fight of Animals Arena. I think everybody has like a good place, and everyone's perfectly, easy to deal with. There's a new character. There's a dachshund, like a dog character in it. So you can play like a completely different character. There's going to be one more character soon. You can air dash in the game now. They recently enabled air dashing. Very rarely, very rarely does a developer decide that they're going to add another major mechanic like 2 weeks after the game comes out. But you know what? I'm down with it. Let's go.
Digital crafter, let's do
Oh,
it.
this is the thing. This is the thing. I just saw like it done like 80% damage or something. I just saw it on stream.
That was the thing. Oh,
Yeah, there we go. Good thing.
There was no. If Super was tacked on, that would have been it.
Okay. Okay, but I understand now. I understand now what it actually is. Oh, there it is again. There it is.
Oh, yep, there, yep, there.
There it
yeah.
is. The thing.
Yep. Yep.
Don't you love it?
So I guess I know.
Man, you love it.
I guess we all know what the thing is right now.
I believe I was unfortunately the namer of it because I had no idea what I was watching. I remember what happened. Like I heard that like before one of the tournaments, I heard that combo was not only possible but very probable to see in match now. And that was like the first time it was starting to happen. It was like, and I heard, it was like, no, I heard about there was this thing that you could do if you did the thing, if you did such and such. It was like, oh no, he did the thing, he did it. And that was it. Then on, that combo is the thing.
Nice. Yeah. So speaking of like events, is there anything like coming up for Fight of Animals soon?
Yeah. So I wanted to officially say I know that it wasn't ready at the time of publication, but we will be participating in Quarantine Report 3 with Fight of Animals. I'm working on getting Fight of Animals Arena in there as an event. I can't make any promises right now because the returning games get priority in terms of the roster. But I am actively working on getting that to happen. So we're going to be back on February 19th at 9 o'clock Eastern, same time as always for our tournaments in the Digital Crafter Discord. To show our stuff, we're going to be back, sharing it with the community. This game is extremely fun to watch, and I feel like not enough people have really watched it competitively. I feel like every time you show people this game competitively, they have a blast. So I always love doing it. Like I said, it's a total amount of fun. It's an absolute blast to commentate and to have people play. And if you want to get in on it, it is going to be on the Steam version, so you can pick it up on Steam right now, and you can go into the Discord. You'll see it on the VOD there, because you guys can see it from the VOD of Animivo, discord.io/digitalcrafter, and you can play the game there on any platform that's available. It's also on PS4 and Switch. We haven't had, now that I mention it, we haven't had the privilege of having a PS4 bracket yet. I do have a PS4 now, so maybe at some point we'll do something like that. So keep an eye out on that. The future is very open, I will say.
Yeah. Speaking of which, like, I assumed it would be on the quarantine reports. Now, the list of like games just got revealed. Oh no, or wait, signups started for quarantine report.
Yeah, signups are open now, and I didn't get a chance to have the Fight of Animals registration ready. I just finished everything, so now they just need to publish it. Um, so that'll happen between today and tomorrow, and I'll have an announcement out there once things are live. Uh, it's just because I've had other things that I've had to occupy myself with this weekend where things were getting officially revealed. But like I said, February 19th, no matter what, hell or high water, we're going to be there, and it'll be fun to participate in QR3 once again.
Hey, so yeah, just a quick aside, like, I mean, how's the scene in general right now? Like, a lot of new people still coming up to pick up the game, or
Yeah, we get a decent influx of new people. There is a very frequent group. They're like you'll see people who are playing in Animiibo who like they've been playing for like months previous to this. Um, I will say that in 2021, our challenge now is to exhibit both Fight of Animals, a game that has kind of gone through a long cycle of development, and Fight of Animals Arena, a game with a completely different aspect that is still being improved on, right? So, would I say that there are big moves in the community right now? Not yet. Would I say that towards the end of the year we're going to see a much more diverse group of people? Absolutely, right? Because now we're talking about two different games that that you can play, and both of them have an amazing feature set that just they welcome the community growing. You know what I mean?
yeah. Hey, so do you two have anything else to add?
Um,
Like,
I don't know, Diz. Do you have anything else to add?
No, just just enjoy the game and can't stress enough vote with your freaking wallet. Like games are out here. Don't judge a book by its cover and vote with your wallet. Like games are out here just like this all over the place that have been doing basically everything right, and we as a community across all sorts of genres need to be able to step up and show that this is what we want. This is what games should have. There shouldn't be arguments like we end up having about very basic aspects when games as small and memey as this are pulling it off no problems.
Yeah, yeah, completely agree. Um, I would say just to kind of wrap it, there's been some discussion on Twitter today. I guess just to tie it all into today about how difficult it is to play a fighting game, and this is a very different type of game. Like I'm glad that that kind of diversity exists. It looks very simple on the face of it, but when you get into it, it's a whole different beast. And thankfully, the game has just the right features that you can enjoy it at almost every level. So yeah, that's probably the last thing I'd say.
yeah, I mean, it's like the whole argument, like, hey, fighting games are too hard, and then it goes to fighting games are too easy, and it's just,
Yeah.
And also the fighting game.
the
Also, the
second one
fighting
question.
games are too easy. People are wrong.
Yeah,
Let me just throw that out there.
fighting games are being
I
dumbed
am
down.
firmly team make it easier.
Uh,
At least,
let's yeah,
no matter what, the entry point should be no problem to ask for. Like that. That's I feel like that's impossible to argue. I've been like playing racing games a ton recently, and those games are freaking difficult. But the entry point is go and turn and stop. Like
yeah,
fighting games
yeah.
should be able to be on that level.
It's funny you mentioned this because like the thing I'm actually going to do after this is going to play some GT Sport, and like it's the first time I've actually played a sim with a sim racer with the wheel.
I just got GT
And
Sport.
incredible.
I think it's great.
Like
But that's a
and
great entry point because not like
yeah,
while it is mad complex and it has all the stuff that you would want to do and knobs to turn and all, there's stuff that like I have no idea what I'm looking at. But again, go, turn, stop.
Yeah.
Entry point is quite easy. Presentation is great. And they have one of the best tutorials I've seen in gaming history.
Yeah,
So,
that's another really important thing, like having a good tutorial, which sport definitely does have. Like it's basically like the whole license concept from the other GT games, but
yes.
redone. And that I really wish like at least that could be a concept like applied to fighting games, like you had like licenses. Like I guess some like do like have like Guilty Gear games and whatnot, like have missions.
Mhm.
I guess it's
Like
kind of like it, but
some are kind of doing it.
yeah,
Some are
Yeah,
kind of doing it, but
it's
none are really on that level.
yeah,
I think some of the best ones I've seen have been like Killer Instinct, maybe Mortal Kombat 11, Under Night, definitely Virtua Fighter 4. I think might be the gold standard still. Like those are the types of teaching tools and the types of entry points that should be standard for the genre. I don't care how much like devs say people don't read them. Put them in. Because the
yeah,
people that do read them stick with the game.
pretty much.
yeah. I think that this game, this game actually doesn't apply to any of that because this game doesn't have like a very complicated tutorial. It just kind of teaches itself, and there's room for that too, especially because some of the stuff that we discover is, I'm sure there's stuff we haven't figured out yet.
Hey, they could take the very outside the box method like Acceleration of Sugri did, just throw a link to a wiki right up in there.
Yeah, right. That would be.
I didn't even think of that. That was brilliant.
Yeah, we have to. The wiki is kind of like a forever work in progress because I started that wiki and that subsequently led to me administrating a whole ton of wikis because I did that like 2 weeks before. And so at some point, I will take the time to fill that document out and have everything nice and neat. But in the meantime, I genuinely don't think that it's going to take you more than a couple of minutes to really enjoy the game.
Yes, which is also very important. Just enjoy the game. You don't have to do all this you're seeing on the screen. And the game is goofy and fun. Just play it.
So I guess that pretty much sums everything up. I'm just gonna throw a link to the wiki on the chat. For those who know, just you can go to the Mizumi wiki at wiki.gbl.gg and click on the nice Fight of Animals icon. Also, great resource. Also, shout outs to the people running it. I don't know who they are, but they do a fantastic job at it. And yeah, guess that sums everything up. Thank you for watching the stream. I don't know exactly which game I'll have for Povertycast 3. I'm still deciding. I have a few candidates in mind, and I still haven't talked to a few people just to see. It's just in terms of like a quick aside, I'm going to be back streaming again, like more because I stopped with it for the holidays. So I'm not going to rotate a whole bunch of stuff. Probably like say a fighting game day and a day for like other random stuff. But I'm trying to like get into somewhat decent schedule after this. Also because I work very like I get out of work at midnight, so like I stream like at midnight my time, which is kind of difficult. But yeah. Anyway, Shib and Diz, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. For you having to take a bit of your time just to talk Fight of Animals with me.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I guess that's everything. See you all next time. Peace. Take care.
All right, everybody. See you soon.
Play Fight of Animals.
Thank you for having us.
Play Fight of Animals. It's a good game.
Play fighting games.
Play fighting games too. There's something so great, as Sokiro would say. Anyway, take care. Peace.
Bye bye, everyone.
See ya.